What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Grace reveals that she needed money. Liam did not have a tumor. Grace Buckingham confirms that Liam Spencer never had a brain tumor, while Brooke Logan had a terrifying water accident, as shown in the Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge Forrester decided not to let Nick Marone ruin Brooke's life and set off to halt the engagement after Eric Forrester gave him a warning about the imminent proposal. Ridge went searching for Brooke and overheard Nick name down on the docks, where he learned Nick's boat had been taken out when the steering was no good. Nick and Brooke had a lovely Italian dinner for two before they finally had their boat ride. Brooke was on the back of the vessel as Ridge frantically called and left a voicemail about something being wrong with Nick's boat. Back with Nick, he struggled to steer as another boat rushed up beside them. Brooke went flying off Nick's boat as Ridge watched in the distance, so he immediately dove in the water and swam toward her. At the Spencer mansion, Liam Spencer teased Hope Logan since she kept fussing over him and offering him things like extra blankets. Liam eventually opened up about the tale of the two Buckinghams and assured Hope that he was good. It was hard for Liam to think about all the heartbreak Reese Buckingham caused when he let them believe Beth Spencer was gone forever. Now Grace had saved Liam's life, or so he thought. Hope acknowledged that Grace was a saint of a woman, so she agreed with Liam about how much they owed her. John Finnegan detailed all of the suspicious aspects of this case at the hospital, including the excessively expensive off-site surgery and the unfamiliar doctor. Finn also recalled that Grace was the one who first informed him of the tumor and that she quickly assumed control when he attempted to take Liam to the neuro team. Finn wondered if this procedure with its tiny incisions and insanely quick recovery time was even necessary given his suspicions that all of the scans and evidence were fake. In point of fact, Finn wondered if Liam had ever had a brain tumor at all. Grace made an effort to maintain her innocence, but she eventually wept and admitted that Finn was correct. However, Grace argued that she had no choice since the people Reese owed money to were threatening her. Grace clearly expressed concern for Peric and Zoe Buckingham's safety when she insisted that they knew where they lived. Grace confirmed that she faked Liam's brain tumor and provided him with this fictitious diagnosis because these people weren't fooling around and wanted the gambling debt paid off by a certain date. As Finn stood there taking it all in, Grace sobbed angrily and tried to explain how desperate she was. According to the Bold and the Beautiful, Grace will make additional confessions in subsequent episodes. Consequently, be prepared for surprises for Liam, Hope, and Bill Spencer. Get ready, because now that Grace's secret is out, what comes next will be volcanic. Grace may have thought telling Finn the truth about Liam's condition was difficult, but the hardest part is yet to come.
Why?
Because the Bold and Beautiful doc still has to share the shocking story with Liam. She feels incredibly guilty about what she's done on so many levels, admits Grace's portrayer, Cassandra Creech. She hates what she put Liam and his loved ones through, and hoped it might never come to light. However, Finn was able to put the pieces together. Now, she has to face not only the consequences of her actions but the most difficult part of all, which is telling Liam and Hope. With Steffi out of the country, it's both appropriate and somewhat ironic that Hope is by Liam's side when Grace confesses. After all, Grace's ex-husband Reese was the one whose gambling debts drove not only her to take desperate actions, but who caused Liam and Hope so much pain in the past. It was those debts which drove him to kidnap their daughter, Beth, Creech reminds us. This time, the people to whom he owes money were coming after her daughters. He couldn't pay them back while he was in jail. So it was that she came up with a plan to essentially steal $1 million from Liam's father. Bill was feeling guilty because he was the one who unleashed Luna, the actress explains. Because of that, Liam got shot. In order to obtain the funds necessary to save her own life and the lives of her daughters, Grace took advantage of the circumstance and manipulated Bill. For her part, Creech does not view Grace as a villain. She argues that good people sometimes have to do bad things. Grace promised herself that she would come up with a means of repaying Bill. But that was not her primary concern. She must now confront Liam and reveal everything. This is her truth-telling moment, previews Creech. She is at her most vulnerable during this time, and the situation becomes almost overwhelming. Having not yet actually seen the scenes, Creech admits she's excited. She admits, "I have no words for what it was like to tape." Volcanic, too. It was harsh and humiliating for Grace. Grace Buckingham's world imploded the moment she admitted Liam Spencer never had a brain tumor. A shocking revelation connected the fates of several characters in The Bold and the Beautiful, including Ridge Forrester, Brooke Logan, and John Finn Finnegan, as the truth emerged. While Brooke was fighting for her life in Italy, falling into dangerous waters after Nick Marone's boat malfunctioned, another drama was unraveling back in Los Angeles, one that threatened to destroy Grace's life and the trust she had deceptively earned. Everything began with a lie that was wrapped in fear, debt, and desperateness. Grace had fabricated Liam's diagnosis because she needed money desperately. With Reese Buckingham's gambling debts piling up even after his incarceration, the dangerous men he owed had turned their sights on Grace and her daughters, Paris and Zoe Buckingham. Grace stood in front of Finn, crumbling under the weight of her guilt and the secrets she had kept as Ridge raced to save Brooke from the ocean. Finn's anxiety regarding Liam's situation grew unbearable at the hospital. Everything about Liam's so-called tumor, from the diagnosis to the rapid, unnecessary surgery, reeked of deceit. His suspicions drove him to confront Grace, and she finally broke. In tears, Grace admitted to faking the entire medical emergency. There had never been a tumor. No scans. No hemorrhage. No miraculous procedure. She'd manipulated Finn, Liam, and worst of all, Bill Spencer, who had donated a staggering amount of money to save his son. Meanwhile, in Italy, Ridge had received a stern warning from Eric Forrester. He couldn't let Brooke tie herself to Nick, especially with a proposal looming. Ridge heard Nick's name as he rushed to the docks and learned that the boat had been taken out despite having poor steering. Brooke and Nick had just finished a romantic dinner, unaware that danger was around the corner. She watched in complete oblivion as Ridge hurriedly left Brooke a voicemail informing her of the issues with the boat from the back of the vessel. Brooke was thrown into the water when Nick lost control and veered dangerously close to another boat. Ridge saw everything from the distance, and in a split second, he dove in to save her. It was a terrifying scene worthy of a movie. Ridge pulled the woman he had been in love with for decades into his arms just in time while swimming against the waves. Back in L.A., the consequences of Grace's lie began to unfold. At the Spencer mansion, Liam playfully teased Hope Logan, who was doting on him post-surgery. He had no idea he had fallen for an elaborate scam. In fact, both Liam and Hope viewed Grace as a hero, someone who had saved his life. However, Finn was unable to allow the deceit to continue. As he pieced together the mystery, he recalled how Grace had shut him out when he tried to take Liam to neurology. He recalled the strange absence of documentation, the shocking recovery timeline, and the unfamiliar surgeon. The surgery had been a scam, and Grace had orchestrated everything, according to every tidbit. Grace, overcome with emotion, pleaded with Finn to keep her secret. She admitted that she had only done it to protect herself and her daughters. They were not bluffing, they were aware of Paris and Zoe's residence. But Finn couldn't be complicit. He felt compelled to tell the truth because he was a friend and a doctor. Grace's manipulations extended beyond just Liam and Hope. Additionally, she had defrauded Bill Spencer of $1 million. She only felt more guilty when she realized she had taken advantage of the man, who was already hurting and feeling guilty about the shooting of Luna. Finn's confrontation with Grace was just the beginning. Now, Grace must face Liam and Hope and tell them everything. This, according to her portrayer Cassandra Creech, is Grace's most vulnerable moment yet. It's overwhelming, humiliating, and emotional. Creech defended Grace's motives, explaining that she was just a desperate mother and not a villain. She believed she could repay Bill eventually, but her priority was survival. Ridge's bravery would not go unnoticed in the meantime. They would come to an emotional conclusion after removing Brooke from the water. Ridge's emotions would come back to the surface, and Brooke, shaken, appreciative, and deeply moved, would view Ridge in a new light. However, the effects would continue long after the rescue occurred. Nick Marone would soon find himself in Ridge's crosshairs, blamed for the boat malfunction and Brooke's near-death experience. Dramatic consequences are in store for viewers as the episodes progress. Grace's secret is out. Brooke has been saved. However, what follows will be absolutely explosive. With Steffi out of the country, Hope will be the one by Liam's side when Grace confesses. Given that Reese's actions tore Hope and Liam apart during the Beth kidnapping, the irony is strong. Now, Reese's legacy of destruction continues through Grace's actions. This is Grace's day of reckoning. She will have to stand in front of the people she hurt and admit everything, that she faked a life-threatening illness, manipulated a grieving father, and endangered her career, all to buy time and safety. The Forrester, Spencer, and Buckingham families will be rocked by this volcanic turn of events. Grace's desperate plea to fin her confession to Liam will be devastating. And Ridge's rescue of Brooke might just reignite the most legendary love story the show has ever told.